Sophie.
It should say you're live.
Hi, it does say I'm live. Hi, True Crime Grapevine fans. It's me, Patty Lee. Where have I been? Well, we have had a hellacious summer, not unlike the moms I'm going to be talking about today. So I've started to think maybe I should do a little different type of uploads because, by the way, hi. If you're new, I'm Patty Lee. I am the host of the True Crime Grapevine. I used to do like weekly or bi-weekly updates on everything that was happening, but seriously, there is too much crime and not enough time. So I don't know if any of you out there are fans of like the Juicy Scoop or my new favorite, A Daily Dose with Donna. It's about pop culture. But we don't have anything like really like that in the true crime world. And since I was already talking about things, I thought maybe I'll just do my daily whine. Only it will be whine. But it's also going to be like whining about true crime. It's a little play on words. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you can hear me. I don't know. This is all new. So why was I gone? If you're new, you didn't know I was gone. But did rehab. That was all of May and June. I only did a few uploads then. That's when it started slowing down. Then we had a cat, my baby Luna, who was only 7, who passed away. And yeah, I was down and out for the count. I don't know why. My little cat's passing just took me out. It was unexpected. We're sure not exactly sure why. Poisoned, leukemia. It was something very quick. She wasn't getting oxygen. This is not a cat crime update, but sort of. Anyway, so then we got 2 new kittens because, of course, within a week, I was so distraught. My husband suggested, why don't you get a new cat? And there was a buy one, get one free. So 2 new kitties. So that has taken up some time. If you know anything about new kittens, they're kind of crazy. So I've had to like keep a safe room and keep them from trying to eat wires. Really not that interesting. Okay, so I don't do a lot of lives. I don't do great with monitoring. So if you say something, maybe I'll see it, maybe I don't. I'll try. Okay, so what has been the crime so far? Let me just tell you. The biggest thing, of course, since I've been gone, raise a glass to the police out in New York for catching Lisk. If you don't know, Lisk is the Long Island serial killer, also the Gilgo 4. This reminds me very much, as I'm sure it does all of you, of when they caught the Golden State Killer, D'Angelo. He was also like the East Side Strangler, and I forget how many other nicknames he had gotten for different crimes he committed throughout the decades. So right now, the person who has been arrested, and I'm going to say, alleged, is Rex Human. His last name is hard to say, but you can't miss him. His name might be not easily recognizable, but boy, is his face recognizable because he is like 6'4", over 200 pounds. He was described back like 10 years ago as an ogre when he was seen at Amber Costello, one of the Gilgo 4 victims' house. So that has been almost since it was the end of July, middle of July, he was arrested in New York City. He was a Manhattan architect who specialized like in the code, and people came to him when they couldn't get things passed through the city. My dad works in some construction stuff, and getting things passed, they're like knowing the code, the city's code, and getting things to be built and rehabbed can be a hassle. So it's kind of interesting that, I mean, it is a hard job, and it sounded like he found this niche part of being an architect. He had this great, I mean, I don't know how great it was, but he had a nice, very nice address in Manhattan as an architect, but his house in Massapequa Park, awful, not taken care of, tiny, disheveled, ramshackled. Now, a lot of the people talking about it have a lot to say, and I think this is true about his dad dying when he was 10, 11. His father died. He bought the house from his mom later as an adult. He seems to have kept it maybe like as a shrine. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I always tell you guys, or if you're new, maybe you don't know, I have a background as an educational psychologist, meaning I'm interested in how people think, problem solve, reason, as well as perspective taking. And I'm an academic, or I was an academic. I finished my PhD work, did not finish my dissertation, just to be plain about it. So you can't call me Dr. Patty. I'm just Patty. ABD is what they call that. Anyway, so I like to tell you guys where to go. There is too much crime. There's not enough time. I watch YouTube and go through Twitter, which is now called X, whatever. Looking at all the publications, what crimes are coming out. And I'm just trying to do this. I'm going to try to keep it under an hour each night, just to let you guys know like what is happening. And then I'll tell you where I went if you want to go in deeper, because it takes hours, especially YouTube, for the Lisk case. I am telling you, Duty Ron, he does come from a New York City police detective's perspective. He's retired, but he has, I mean, not but, sorry. I like everybody's perspective. I like law enforcement's, but I also like the outside of the law enforcement, because as we know, law enforcement doesn't always do the right thing. And even Duty Ron will say that. So whoever I say, don't think that that's the only perspective I take. I try to get like a bunch of if you can think of a Venn diagram, a bunch of different perspectives. And that is how I try to then decide. So I will tell you, Duty Ron lives out on Long Island. He has 3-4 uploads now. 2 of them were from Massapequa Park, and he just put like a GoPro on his car, his camera, and he went all the way out and drove to Gilgo Beach. And I highly recommend it, because it gives you an idea that even now that they've built a bike trail, it wasn't there before. I am telling you guys, it is. When Duty Ron went out there, nobody, like, it's so far out. It's past Jones Beach. He drove actually out all the way past Gilgo to Oak Park, where Shannon Gilbert had gone missing. It's a crazy story. I'm not going to tell you the whole thing. If you want a overview of that, like if you want to see it in real time, I would suggest looking up Duty Ron at Duty Ron YouTube. Also, I watched almost every upload of Gisela K at Grizzly True Crime on YouTube. She's South African. She's a YouTuber from the Netherlands, of South African descent. She always says, because you can tell she has an accent. She is great with technology, and she uses this app that you can fly, basically, and it's not exact, because it's just going, it fills in some things. It's, you know, an AI, artificial intelligence, so it's not exactly flying over, but it gives you a very good idea of what it was like. She does a flyover, but she also goes so deep into all the different backgrounds of all the different victims, goes into Rex's background. There is so much. I will probably try to do an upload just on the Lisk killer. One of the things I would like to mention, they got Google updates, but there are so many people driving by. I might have to do it at a different time. It's a porch party, so I'm out on my back porch, and it's hot, and for some reason there's 10,000 cars now going by. But Rex, he Googled a lot about, once they announced 2 years ago that they were having a new crime group task force to look into the Lisk killings, the Gilgo 4. And boy, he was very interested. And then his other Googles, I'm not going to tell you them all. They're disgusting, about like hurt girls. It's all porn, corn. YouTube doesn't like the P word. So it's a lot of children of the corn type videos he was looking up that had to do with children that were harmed, that had marks on their. It's very strange, twisted stuff. Again, so if you're interested, Duty Ron, who lives out on Long Island, go look up his uploads about this. He also has a crime analysis buddy that comes on with him. Why am I blanking? Because I haven't done this in so long. But is it Ed Harris? Ed Harris is the, what do you call it? It's Ed, is his compatriot, who is the forensic guy, who is also retired New York City police, but he still is in the game as a consultant. They explain a lot of how police works, a lot of the forensics and how this went down. Very interesting. I would definitely go watch those uploads when he's with Ed. I would also, the other list besides Gisela K's Grizzly True Crime, who she's just so detailed. Oh, the interview room had on Ann Burgess and Gary Baccato. They are two preeminent, like, must-see experts in psychology, criminal psychology. They study serial killers. Ann Burgess is the model for the woman in Mindhunters. That she was the psychologist who helped the two FBI agents come up with that interview technique, and then how to statistically analyze it to look for how serial killers developed. Very interesting. So everything Anne says, and this Gary Piccato, he is with the Yale, I believe, working, and there's Victor not Petrinko, that's Victor P. Doctor. They are doing I believe it's either with Columbia or Yale, or maybe Columbia and Yale, a serial killer database. So when those people talk, that's who I want to listen to, because they are the experts. And boy, did they have a lot to say about Rex. And from his Google searches that happened prior to his arrest, which I think is very important to mention, from his Google searches, from the evidence that they found, which was direct DNA. So we have like transfer DNA and we have direct DNA. Direct DNA is like your hair, your blood, your semen, your saliva. Transfer DNA, hairs can be transferred, like Rex's wife. They have to look about who was where to see if it was direct or a transfer. But like the biggest transfer that can be transferred without you even being near the person is epithelial, which is we're always touching things, transferring it. Somebody else can come along and touch it and take it with them and then drop it somewhere else. That matters. So there's direct DNA evidence for 3 of the 4. They have charged him with 3. The biggest talk has been, nobody's really doubting it. He's alleged. They're looking now for more because he has property in different states. And the latest was Las Vegas is requesting his DNA profile to compare with a similar unaliving they had out there with a sex worker who was also wrapped, not in burlap, but in cloth. So it's sort of, same type of victim, same MO. And he had just gotten a timeshare in Las Vegas, and the sex worker was from New Jersey. So it's thought maybe he contacted them, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, the list killing is still, I would say, it's a very old case. Not a lot of YouTubers who are younger knew about it because, they were younger. But I, being 50 something, remember this. And it is amazing that finally the technology caught up with the killer. I think we don't see as many. They said, why was serial killing the biggest in the 80s, the 70s? It's because technology has caught up and they can't really kill as well without being found out because of especially DNA and other sorts of like luminol, other sorts of technology that's developed. Okay, so the other big case really still being talked about today, Rachel Morin. She was a 37-year-old mom who went running in her town of Bel Air, Maryland. And she was on this mom pa trail, and the part that was in Bel Air, it did go through a very thickly wooded area, but it had like a highway on one side. There were like businesses on the other side. And, it's like a little public park. And there were other people around. And boy, did it first seem she had just had a new boyfriend. She's the mom of 5. Everybody reported that she had 3 baby daddies and they were all taking her to court. And I don't think any of that was specifically, if you know, please put it in the comments. I don't know that that was corroborated, but at first it kind of seemed like, okay, was the new boyfriend, like he had a history of DV. Now, he said he was clean for 15 months. He'd gotten his act together. We'd like to believe that, but we've heard this story before, and statistics, pointed towards him. Or was it one of the baby daddies? Or was it somebody she was apparently still on dating apps? Was it? Okay. And guess what? DNA provided a sample after they looked at her, and we are not privy as to if it was like from under her nails or if it was semen or what, but DNA showed that it matched a crime. And I believe they must have looked in VICAP, and VICAP is like the it's violent crimes where the police put up profiles where they don't always know who it is. So CODIS is the database for known, I believe, arrested, maybe and convicted felons, but VICAP is violent. It's a database of information about violent crimes. So you don't necessarily know who committed them, but they have information on the violent crimes. And I think, I don't know if it was CODIS or VICAP. I think it was VICAP that they pulled up this matching DNA with a crime in Los Angeles in March. So that was March 26th. In the LA area, there was a home invasion of they just say young woman, but they had video of it. And I think I watched that with the Grizzlies on Gizla K's Grizzly True Crime. But all the channels eventually had it up. And please go look at it, please, because you might know this young man. He is definitely very muscular. They just show him leaving the house, and his ears stick out. He's got a very distinguishable haircut. It's cut real short and like not in a bowl. I know that the kids would have a name for it, and I'm just too old to know. But a distinctive shaved haircut. They said he's of Hispanic descent, which from a DNA thing, they can tell your gender and they can tell your backgrounds. And they then had information from, it was a home invasion. They didn't say an SA assault, but an assault on a young woman. We don't know how young of a woman. And they have a description of someone who is Hispanic descent, in his young to mid 20s, early to mid 20s, and very muscular, 5'9", about 160. So if you Google Rachel Morin video of suspect in LA, you will find it. It has a side view. It doesn't really show his face, but it does show his body. It does show his head. His ears stick out a little bit. So if you know this person, I think you might recognize him. They do think he has ties to LA. Obviously, we don't know why he was in Maryland. It was not a home invasion. We don't know because he was so like built up. Did he meet her at her gym? She had just been at her gym. She went to Planet Fitness. Did he maybe see her there? Because he went to Planet Fitness, because I believe if you belong to one, you belong to all of them. So yeah, it went from everybody thinking, of course, I think we all feel better when it sounds horrible, but if it's somebody they knew, then the whole society feels like we don't have to worry as much. But when it's a stranger, that's like a freaky thing. So this guy is one of the horrible, freaky guys. He seems to she went jogging in the park or walking at 6. So sometime after she started, probably within the first 15 to 20 minutes, because she was on this pathway about halfway through. Again, Gizla K at Grizzly 2 Crime has a very good, she calls it map time. I love it. Oh, hi. How you guys doing? New here. Nice to see you. This is my new daily update, my daily wine. So it's after 5 here, but with the crime, I think drinking, I think day drinking is not something that should, I mean, if you're at work, obviously don't drink, or if you're driving, but otherwise, can't say if you're into true crime that should be discouraged. So the Rachel Morin case is definitely heating up. Hopefully I am sure, because this case was, he has now gone from a home invasion essay, probably, I'm guessing, assault on a young girl, to grabbing this woman. Now, Rachel was 37, but she was teeny tiny, very well in shape. I mean, she could have looked like a much younger girl, and he just grabbed her, it looks like, and hauled her off the path into a culvert, which, if you don't know what a culvert is, they look like big round tubes of concrete, and therefore water, when there's like extra water, it helps drain a park or any area. Hauled her into the culvert system near, like, 300 feet off the path. Again, Gisela K, highly recommend, if you want to see exactly how far from the path to the culvert. She like mapped it out, 300 and some feet or yards. So not too far away, but far enough that, and inside this tube that's sort of underground, and there's a highway that went pretty close by. And I was thinking, did somebody go by the highway? When I was thinking it must be somebody that knew her and then dropped her off there. No, it seems like she fought really hard, but she's tiny. She was like 100 and some pounds. This guy's 160. She's 37, even though very much in shape. He's 20. Just probably picked her up. She was screaming. He probably just covered her mouth or hit her on the head, took her into this culvert. We don't know what he did to her, but it was described by not the person who found her, but that person's father. And that's a whole nother sub story of this guy who came out of the woodwork. But I think what he said seems to be pretty accurate, that she was bludgeoned, that half her face was missing. That's why people are like, oh, it has to be somebody that knew her. But no, the guy probably was just trying to shut her up. He's obviously, this person is out of control. So what I think is, because he's escalated from that march to now this, to killing a stranger on a path. And I have to apologize to Gigi, because she was saying this happened during the daytime. And I was like, we don't know when it happened. Probably did happen during the daytime. He just got her far enough into that culvert, away from people, with the highway noise. And yeah, really bold. So I believe the FBI are probably involved. I believe the FBI are doing a genealogical DNA analysis. So supposedly we'll talk about trial stuff. So we'll talk about Kohlberger. I'll talk about that tomorrow. But I am telling you, they said they found Kohlberger's within 14 hours. They could do the DNA. I think that's what I heard today on Peter Tragos, the lawyer, Again, we'll talk about Kohlberger tomorrow, because Tuesdays are going to be my trial days. But this, I think they are going to be very much doing a genealogical DNA analysis to find out who the heck this crazy guy is. Because, I mean, California, LA to Maryland. Okay, now we have a bi-coastal killing. Not cool. Nobody's safe anywhere, because where is he? We don't know. It's kind of scary. So please go look up the video. Again, it's on All the True Crime. Maybe I can, I might try to get my editor to figure out how to pop in a picture if I can repost this. All right, we're 23 minutes in. I have one more case I wanted to talk about tonight. The Lindsay Shiver case. Lindsay Shiver. All right, people. Lindsay Shiver was married to Robert Shiver. They are getting divorced as of this spring. They are in their late 30s. They went to Auburn University. I have a pet peeve, you guys. Everybody's like, the cheerleader and the football player. These people are old. They're not cheerleaders and football players. And can we please not put people into, I don't know. Maybe because I used to cheer. I mean, but I'm talking high school. Can we not call people cheerleaders and beauty queens when that was like way part of their life? I mean, she should be called a manic mom, because she is a manic, mad as a murderer mom. And why do I say mad as a murderer instead of a murderer? Let me just tell you. These people are getting divorced. He is from a family that the dad just sold a company for $5 billion, Flower Foods, which I never heard of, but they have money. And I think she's from money too. But I mean, he has money. And they're getting divorced. And he says, yeah, she's cheating on me with this guy from the Bahamas where we go. And she says he's violent and aggressive and whatever with me. And I'm thinking, now I understand no fault states, because just get divorced, right? Well, here's the thing. In Georgia, where they're from Thomasville, like the Thomasville furniture people. They keep calling it a small town. I was like, oh, small, very rich. I don't know. There's small towns and then there's small towns. They're from a very well-to-do area. I didn't even know, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't know the Bahamas, like all the different islands. I guess I've heard of this. Oh my God, his dad had a family house for all the kids, I guess, on, what was the bay called? Some bay, Baker's Bay. And their like neighbors are like Tom Brady and Michael Jordan. I mean, these are not normal rich people. I mean, these are super rich people. And this guy, so he's divorcing her. He started it first. She do it like the next day. She says, "No, I'm divorcing you because of this reason," right? So they're getting divorced. Whatever. But in Georgia, if you cheat, they say you don't have to give the person alimony. And I am not a lawyer, and I haven't heard a lawyer from Georgia actually talk all about this. But he is saying she got a degree from Auburn in 2009, a marketing degree, because we know, that's like how you're going to make all your money. Now, they had their first baby, I believe, in 2013. They have 3 boys. She's never worked. She married him in 2010, I believe it was. Look, she was a stay-at-home mom. She married a rich guy right out of college, had 3 children. Things after 10 years don't work out the way they planned. He is saying, yeah, she cheated on me, and she's got a boyfriend, and I want the house, I want the kids, I want the furnishings in the house. She gets 0 alimony. She's able-bodied and can work. All right. Now, he's obviously very angry with her. He is then pictured, though. So here's where the big fight happens. July 16th is the big fight. Do I have this down? You guys, this is crazy. So July 16th, they're going on their private jet that they also have with other people. I mean, because, one doesn't just have a private jet with themselves. It's not like they're Taylor Swift. Here's to all the Swifties, of which I am one, admittedly. Yeah, so it's hard to feel a lot of sympathy for these people. But they're fighting over their private jet, and he's taking the boys, and she wants to get on the private jet so she can go down and see her boyfriend. She wants to go, and he's like, "No, you don't get to go. You don't get to go anymore. This is mine. You only owe 25%, and these other people, we don't want you on this flight." He goes down to the Bahamas. She doesn't get on the flight. She is pissed. Right. As one, I mean, you're getting divorced. You want to see, the boyfriend is 10 years younger. Like, she's 37 and he's 28, and not quite 10 years difference. But I mean, she wants to go see her loving thing. She doesn't get on the private plane. He does keep her off. He is then pictured in the bar with some other girl. Whatever. Who cares? Right. Do we care? I don't care. Right. Whatever, people. But she then texts her boy toy, like, kill him. Like, she's so angry. She wants him dead. And I don't know how far it went, but somehow the Bahamian police get the boyfriend's phone about 5 days later, because there is a break-in at the bar in which he works. The bar is called Grabbers. Take that for what you will about irony, right? And karma. his friend is involved, a Farron Newbold. He is Terrence Bethel. He's 28. His friend's 29. And then she's 36. And the husband is 38. So these aren't babies, but in the Bahamas, apparently, Lori Hellis knows about this. Apparently, she has a sister who lives in the Bahamas too. But Lori Hellis is a lawyer. She is on the YouTube channel Children of Darkness and Light. She is writing a book about the Lori Vallow Daybell trial case. And I think she's pretty fair. She was talking about how Fox Hill, the prison she was in, that Lindsay was put in, and her two compatriots, these two guys, really horrible, like third world country, awful. Also, Bahamian law says, get this, it's not like you have to take any step to do the murder. You just have to be planning a murder, and it's like the same thing as murdering. Like, it's very serious. So like in the United States, a lot of it is you have to do something in furtherance of the plan, like pay the person some money, give the person the gun. You have to do something that says like, yeah, I'm effing serious about this. In Bahamian law, just proposing it and planning it is like doing it. So Lindsay's in trouble. And we don't know what was found on her boyfriend's phone exactly, but it seems to me that it could be a little worrisome for her getting stuck down there. If she was just pissed she couldn't get on this flight with her kids, and they're getting divorced. I don't know. Did she just say something crazy? Did she really want to kill him? Did she just send a picture? Like, I don't know how far the plan was. So, and I don't know how much we'll see of it. She is stuck in the Bahamas now. She was supposed to come back home to do something about the divorce. Can't do that. Her lawyer dropped her on August 1st. She's basically screwed. And part of it is, yeah, she has money, but not nearly as much money as the ex has. And he is done with her. Like, a man scorned can be just as bad as a woman scorned, if you ask me. And I don't know how much she did. And I don't know how much we'll find out, because this is the Bahamas. So, and their house was on Abaco Island, which I think I've heard of. I mean, I watch The Housewives. That's about what I hear about the Bahamas. I mean, I know Nassau is the biggest. I do not know enough about the Bahamas. I do not have extra houses anywhere, especially not in the Bahamas. She was released. They did allow her to get into her money, and she was allowed to take out $100,000 for her bond. And she has a GPS monitor. She is I believe, in Nassau still. Her parents rented her a house. Again, a whole different lifestyle than we're used to, right? The boys are out. The men, her boy Toy, but he's a man. He's 28, and his friend Farron, they're out on bond. Apparently his dad is a judge or some political person. I have no idea where this is going to go, but I do know she has screwed herself royally. That is unfortunate. She should have just not gone on the private plane and taken a commercial flight. So I guess that's what we can learn from this, right? Take a commercial flight. And yeah, so that's Lindsay Shriver. We will hear more about her. I am at just over 33 minutes. I'm going to try to keep this to half an hour, folks. If you have anything to say, please put it in the chat now, later. I'm going to try to upload this maybe. However, you can comment. Let me know what you think. Do you think Lindsay really tried to kill her husband, or do you think she was just ticked off and made a really ridiculous comment and maybe it got out of hand? Or do you think like she was going to be, if you remember Pamela Smart, does anybody remember Pamela Smart? I don't remember. She was the teacher whose husband, Greg Smart, she did have killed. And it was by three boys, a boy she was sleeping with, and two of his friends, I believe, from high school, where she was like the English teacher. I mean, so this stuff can happen and go all the way through the process till somebody dies. So I just don't know what we're going to see, because it's from the Bahamas. But what do you think? Also, we'll get back the Rachel Moron thing. I hope they find that guy. That's scary. Also, please take somebody with you if you walk or run. Don't walk or run at the same time. Um, Always have at least one earbud out or no earbuds. I listen to podcasts, but I have my phone like out so I can also hear. And, keep your head on swivel, as they say. Look around. Please be careful out there, people. Doors locked. Have one of those pole things that makes a big loud noise. I hesitate recommending, especially if there's any wind, spray, because I guess now there's a gel though that's heavier that when you aim it, because the spray can go back at you. And they recommend if you carry pepper spray, shoot it at least once yourself to make sure it works, and two, so you know what it feels like when it gets in your eyes, so you're not overwhelmed just as much as the person at which you're shooting it. Yeah, and the list case, boy, we'll talk more about that. There's so much more. All right, bye guys. I'll see you tomorrow for our daily wine.